In 1985, English minimalist composer Andrew Poppy released his debut album, The Beating of Wings, and from it, the track 32 Frames for Orchestra. Okay, we have quite a big band on here. I can just introduce people as they come out. So far, we're hearing some of the strings, the really striking strings, and we've got well, a whole bunch of names. Susan Dory, Sarah Guilford, Rydian Shaxson, Matthew Field. David Owen on piano. Yeah, that pianist was part of that, appeared anyway on that Lost Jockey project that Andrew Poppy had been involved in prior to this album on Les Disques de Crépuscule. And yeah, a lot of these names, though, are blue on my. The links are blue on my Discogs, meaning I've not looked up any of them probably in the last year. So these are people I have not encountered. And there seems to be about 30 players on this. Okay, that xylophone, yeah, Keith Bartlett. Cute. I like it. We got the striking strings, we got the piano, and we got that like tinkly xylophone going on. Yeah, it seems to be kind of like a call and response melodically between the piano, which is like giving us the main theme, and then that xylophone, which is interjecting on it. Found these musicians, but a lot of them, the ones I'm clicking on, it seems like it'll be like this album, and then it won't be anything until the 90s. Yeah, for the record, this is Andrew Poppy's first of two releases on Trevor Horn's ZTT label. There seems to be kind of like a contrast between the really foreboding, striking strings, which are getting like more intense, and the whimsical nature of that xylophone. Introduced him as a minimalist. I mean, that's kind of how he's perceived in the marketplace. But this is pretty maximalistic. Yeah, it didn't really start out with any kind of like bare bone pattern that slowly like added second layer, then third layer. That no, has had a lot going on quite from the start. Poppy himself is conducting this, and he's credited with piano overdubs and keyboard overdubs. But I think the piano in the main is by David Owen. Okay, now we're starting to hear, an assortment of woodwinds coming in, and there are just too many of them to name. I'm wondering if this is really ultimately going to sound as dense as the number of people that are listed on the credits for this track. Yeah. Starting to hear a different mallet instrument. There's another one coming up, but I don't want to spoil the surprise. Most of the call and response, we'll get this, and then it'll be like a more pronounced one by a bunch of other instruments. We're kind of like modulating here with this, taking the theme, and we're having like this call and response between like maybe like first it'll be a woodwind, then it'll be some brass, you know. Okay, and what's taking center stage there, I think, is Roger Heaton and Victoria Soames. They are credited with clarinet, and they, very scant credits otherwise on Discogs. These violins in the background, that have taken over this, element that we were hearing earlier in the song. It's that kind of fluttering, and we got some really low double bass, and there's also another bass type of instrument credited that you don't see very often. I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to pick that out. Consistent throughout this piece, but we've come a ways from the beginning. I mean, we've gotten a lot denser, of course. I wonder how many instruments are going on at this point simultaneously. If you can take it all apart, I salute you. discordant. Some of the elements are really playing against the theme, and it's the abstraction. I guess you can only layer on so many instruments before you get that kind of discombobulated feel at certain ends. Yeah, we got some brass, right? It's coming out of my left speaker. That's really playing against the theme. The piano's just kind of starting to, like, you know, skip on down the keys with no regard really for the theme anymore. Okay, we got about 2 minutes left, so there are some surprises in store nonetheless. I'm still hearing xylophone. I've yet to really pinpoint the vibraphone that's credited on here. Okay, I'm wondering what the significance of this 32 frames for orchestra is. When I think of 32 frames, it has me thinking of the Simple Minds title. Two is not the number of players on this. There's like about 40 people playing on this at least. Suddenly all that choppiness has subsided now. Like everyone's playing kind of like in this open cadence, kind of forming sort of more of a droney feel, but that with that xylophone just kind of tinkling about. Yeah. Pressed the wrong button there. Okay, now it sounds like I'm hearing two xylophones, kind of like doubled up. Maybe I'm hearing like a mixture of xylophone and vibraphone. Although I'm not quite getting the kind of glowy tone. I'm getting more of the tingly tone. It sounds like it sounds like two xylophones. Except only one person's credited on that instrument. It sounds like two players like kind of playing the same figure, just like a fraction of a second. One just like a millisecond behind the other, like doubling up on the other. Wow, that was Andrew Poppy, 32 frames for orchestra, a lot of instruments, and quite a dense number that was nonetheless quite consistent and maximalistic. And I couldn't quite pinpoint the tuba. Yeah, that's the other bass instrument that I was talking about. Yeah, something I don't see very often in credits. I guess because it widely fell into disuse when the stand-up bass caught on back like in the 30s, and it's oftentimes I guess considered just a really cumbersome, too heavy to tow around, and an instrument that can really I guess be sort of intrusive in mixes and such, and create a lot of like I guess reverb and feedback if you play it into like a microphone or anything, and so it's just not. And I guess the ultimately the tone just tonally it just isn't quite as friendly as just bass, be it stand up or so it's interesting to see it incorporated. It's interesting to see it pop up in a credit, even though if it may have been some of those lower brass notes. I was kind of who knows. I was expecting something much deeper though. If yeah, for whenever I see that instrument listed, I didn't quite pick out anything really like earth shattering, low and kind of tremor causing. Anyway, 32 frames for orchestra by Andrew Poppy from his 1985 release, The Beating of Wings. Yeah, released on ZTT, basically, well, really, the Art of Noise label, Paul Morley, Trevor Horn, and the same year that they put out that Propaganda record, one of the banner releases of the year, yeah. For more Rubies and Sapphires from the Andrew Poppy album, see the directory of albums by American, no, excuse me, by English A artists, yes. Or go to the 1985 album directory for more than 500 titles from that pretty fine year. Yeah. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations that you have about the track we just heard, the layers, the density, the instruments, the compositional syntax, yeah, and just how it compares to other minimalist 20th century art music compositions that you've heard. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most air-traveled trimaximalist, signing off.